Warning, the footage that you are about to see is very cut up and will be very, very tutorial based. If you're not interested in seeing this, I ask that you wait till the next video. Thank you very much for your patience, and I hope that this is helpful to you. This is everything that you as a new player need to know about the Demon's Ruins. And I will be doing this with both a strength build and a dexterity build, starting out with the dexterity build. First thing you need to know, these guys are hostile to you, but it's basically a waste of your time to even kill them, because as you can see, they're extremely weak. Coming up to the Taurus Demons, these guys are exactly as easy as they were in the first boss fight. However, they should be a lot easier because you now have much better weaponry and much better armor. While you do not have a jumping attack or a plunging attack, these guys are still extremely easy, and I do recommend actually killing them because there is a very important item that we should be getting later on in the season. Best strategy for dealing with them for a dexterity build, definitely to roll out of the way. As you can see, the lava does absolutely no damage to them, so do not even worry about that. One important thing to know about the Taurus Demons is they are not affected by bleed. Bleed, of course, is given off by katana class weapons. However, Taurus Demons will not be affected by bleed. Nor will the Capra Demons, which you can see over here to the right, which is where you're going to want to go as a new player. Capra Demon, once again, the same exact enemies as the boss. However, these guys again should be a lot easier because you have much better armor, much better weapons, and much better stats. But, as you can see, exact same moveset. These guys are affected by bleed equally as little as the Taurus Demons, and their attacks can now be blocked, though they will take most of your stamina. Moving past the Capra Demon here, you see this. Quickly follow this path, make sure not to fall off the ledge, because as you can see there is lava down there, and that is a one-hit kill. Coming down here, if you are human, you're going to meet Dark Wraith Kirk. If you are not human, you will not be meeting him, and you will not be able to move on to his next and last invasion. However, once you run this corner, you will see him invade. And once he invades, you can see that we anchored that Capra Demon, but do not worry about it. Continue running back, and the Capra Demon's aggro shall be broken. Dark Wraith Kirk starts very far back, and in a dexterity build, he's quite easy even with low poise. You can easily get behind him and outmaneuver him, even in this very limited environment. One easy thing to do is just to block his attacks and then get behind him and backstab him. Another thing that you can do is parry him, however I do not recommend it because his attacks build up bleed, and his attacks do a certain amount of damage if you are running a low poise build. Dark Wraith Kirk has the same exact moveset as before, and will drop another piece of his armor or weaponry than the last time. As you can see, Dark Wraith Kirk is vanquished, and he will drop 1 humanity and an item. Or 3 humanity. And he'll also drop you souls. As you can see, we got the spike shield. Coming to this area, the Capra Demons here can be a little bit overwhelming, but if you stand close enough to them, only one of them will be drawn. This is recommended because the Capra Demons in groups can be a little bit difficult. You can see here, even with the washing pole, which is a very low damage weapon, we can break his poise in 2 hits. Do keep in mind that this is a plus 15 washing pole, so that does have something to do with how easily their poise is broken. Best way to deal with Capra Demon attacks is to either roll away from them, or if necessary, however, it should not be your main focus, you can block their attacks. With the dexterity build in this area, you want to be conserving and getting hits off when you can. By conserving, I mean conserving stamina and conserving hit points. You have very low poise generally in a dexterity build, and so your goal is to either get out of the way of attacks and deal damage. The Capra Demons will occasionally drop their Demon Great Machete, and the quick note, the Capra Demons here in this area will respawn, while the Taurus Demons that we fought at the beginning of this video will not respawn. The Demon Great Machete is a good strength weapon. As you can see, it requires 40 strength, and it deals a decent amount of damage. Once the Capra Demons are vanquished, do not come over here, as this is a straight drop. Instead, come around the right to where the staircase is. This is an easy trap to fall into, and do not feel bad if you have fallen into it. Coming down here, you see a new type of enemy. These guys breathe fire, and just as a demonstration, you can see that they are quite good at draining stamina, even though they are not as good as the bone weapons were. These guys are very weak, however their fire can do a decent amount of damage if you're not wearing much armor. Just coming around here, you can see this staircase, just avoid it at first. Coming down here, you see a bonfire. However, do not be fooled, because there will be a giant centipede here. We will be talking about how to deal with these centipedes later. Quick note, once you kill the centipede that is here, this bonfire will be available to you. This bonfire is always here, however, just because the centipede is not here, or just because the centipede is here, he'll be blocking it. Over here is the soul of a nameless hero. No, I'm sorry. Over there is the soul of a Proud Knight. Coming down the staircase, you can see that these guys respawn. However, they have no poison and are extremely easy to defeat. Even in groups, they are very easy because they tend to clump up and you can deal with more than one of them at a time. Even if you cannot, their fire attack takes a decent amount of time, and if you are using a dexterity weapon, your attacks are very quick. Coming over here, you can see a Taurus Demon. Make sure to use your environment in this because several times he will not be able to hit you because of elevation, whereas you'll be able to hit him. For instance there, we got a few more invincibility frames than normal because the Taurus Demon was on a different elevation. Taurus Demons will occasionally drop their large Great Axe, however, it is not always something that they will drop. You can see the Centipede here, he is completely useless. Do not attack him unless you want to train against him for killing the guy at the bonfire. This guy guards nothing, he does nothing except damage you. However, he is weakest to magic. So if you have magic, best thing to use against him. As you can see, Dark Fog will not work against him because, okay, it will work against him, that poisons him. Magic is the most powerful, and keep in mind that this is new game, so it's doing less damage than usual. But you can see for killing him, you get absolutely nothing. So moving up here, the first thing you want to do is take out these guys. Once again, very easy to deal with, and even if they do start to breathe fire, flipping or rolling out of the way is extremely easy. Come over here to this Capra Demon. He's rather amusing. His attacks are easily dodged, and it is quite possible to make him leap off the ledge, as I demonstrated in my actual Let's Play video of this. For killing him, overturning this corpse, you get a large soul of a Proud Knight. This area is much more difficult than the previous areas, however it is easier with a dexterity build than it is with a strength build. The Taurus Demons along this route cut off your access to the areas around you, so my best recommendation is to take shots when you can and do not get greedy. You can also try to see if you can get them to jump off the cliff that they are on. However, I do not recommend this. I instead recommend just taking slow shots at them. Again, patience is quite a virtue in this game. And as you can see there, being a little bit greedy and trying to get a strong attack in cost me health. But even if you get hit, their attacks are slow enough that you can just avoid them. One quick note about this area, I recommend that if you are not looking for player versus player action in this area, after you fight Dark Wraithkirk, I recommend jumping off and suiciding off a ledge. I recommend this because otherwise you will be invaded. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but when we got killed by those centipedes, a message popped up saying, "Warning, weapon at risk." This is a very, very dangerous message because it indicates that your weapon is about to break because it has been corroded away by acid. The only way to cure this is by repairing it either at a blacksmith or the repair box. This requires souls, however, a soul of a Proud Knight should take care of this, with 1,838 souls to spare. When it comes to attempting to retrieve souls in this area, what I recommend doing is fighting this first Taurus Demon, because attempting to go past him will likely get you killed. He borders a few cliffs, and his attacks are potent enough to kill you. I recommend running past none of these enemies except for the Centipede, because the Centipede can be completely avoided, and should be completely avoided. Once again, the same tactic applies here. When attempting to run past the Centipedes, there is one tactic that I recommend. Instead of attempting to run back after you get the Ember, simply use a Horned Bone. Horned Bone is much more effective, especially since you do not have to go back and fight the Taurus Demons once again, since you already have covered this area. So once you have returned to the bonfire, begin making your way down to the Demon Ruins again. Once you have reached the steps again, make sure to kill these two fools. However, do not head immediately for the bonfire, especially if you want Solair's best ending. However, if you do not care about Solair, you're just simply doing a speed run. Wait for a little while, and then you shall see my run through of that boss. However, if you are looking for Solair's saving grace, I do show it in my regular video. However, I feel it necessary to go through it here. Simply run down the route or fall down. Either way will get you there. And you see these guys. Completely harmless except for the fact that they're rather disgusting. These jerks will kill Solair if you do not kill them first. However, it is not specifically these guys that will kill Solair. In order to access this shortcut, you have to be level 2 in the Chaos Servant Covenant. That door will open. then there will be more bugs in there. Make sure to kill the one with the bright red eyes, and you know which one you killed because you will get an item called the Sunlight Maggot. Once you have that item, rest assured that Solaria is safe. Going into this next boss fight is actually quite difficult for a new player. In fact, I still have trouble with it today. So I'm going to give you a very swift guide on what rings to use for a Dexterity build. I recommend the Chlorine ring because that way you can get out of situations and be able to get out of more situations because your stamina is regenerating faster. And I recommend using the Dark Wood Grain ring. The extra invincibility frames are definitely a huge boost here, and they are very powerful. You'll get out of very many situations. So when you first get into this fight, it's rather overwhelming. You see the Demon Fire stage and you walk forward. However, I don't want you to walk forward. I want you to bait one of his attacks. His attacks are very much... They have a lot longer reach than what you would expect. And actually, I've never seen him open up this fight with that attack before. Usually what he'll end up doing, this is probably what you guys will encounter, so I'm going to discuss it here. He'll do that attack. And what you just saw there is that attack has a tremendous amount of range. That attack has so much range, in fact, that when you first come into the boss fight, you're probably going to get hit by it and you're going to be in a bad situation because you're going to be cornered. What instead I want you to do is, if you're going to try to flip out of it or roll out of it or block through it, well, if you're blocking through it, just block. But if you're trying to roll or flip out of it, wait a heartbeat, then roll. Because that is actually going to get you out of it, because that attack has a very small delay that feels like... it feels weird at first. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. Demon Fire Sage, in many ways, feels a lot like the Stray Demon. However, his attacks are much stronger, and I feel that he's a little bit tougher. Like, he has more health. That could be because this character's in New Game. However, his attacks still suffer from the same sorts of flaws. For instance, as you saw there, when he attacks forward, there's still a very clear space in front of him that you can get in between him and just go off on him. Now, for a Dexterity build, I definitely recommend using a weapon here that can cause bleed. There's another example of that attack. But using a weapon that causes bleed here is very powerful, as you guys saw a few seconds ago. Because if you get 3 or 4 successive hits on him, 3 there, you see that it causes a great amount of damage. Now, his attacks are very simple. Once again, you just saw that he'll fly up and land back down. That attack is very easy to get away from. You just back up a little bit and then go in to attack him again. You can bait him to go into that several times by attacking him, and sometimes he'll go back into that. But first, real quick, I want to talk about that attack that he keeps doing right there. I want to see if I can try to bait him to do it. Come on. No, don't do that. But that attack that you saw him do, where he swings out and then there's an explosion. Not that attack. Come on. Blocking through his attacks is very effective, however, it will drain you of stamina. That attack. I want to talk to you about that attack right there. As you can see, trying to flip out of it is actually quite hard, and no, that was not just sheer incompetence on my part. However, that was because I made a mistake, because I was attempting to talk to you about that attack. In that attack, what I want you guys to do, and I will be joining you in a moment back in this boss fight, in that attack, what I want you guys to do is flip out one time, then turn and block. Or if you feel like you don't have enough time to flip out, what I want you to do is break your lock on and actually turn to face him and then block. Because what this will allow you to do is not be hit. Because what I have found in studying this boss fight a few times is that flipping out or trying to get out of there when you're still directly in front of him will almost always get you hit, and then as you can see there, he deals that deadly combo. The way that I've found to get out of that deadly combo, to break it, is what you want to do is after you get hit, you stand up, immediately start blocking. Stamina or no stamina, do it, because even if you break your guard, you're going to have no stamina, but you're going to be okay, because that attack is still blocked. So, real quick, let's talk about regenerating, or recovering souls here. With this boss fight, you want to be very patient. That's normally how I'll start off the boss fight, by the way. So what you want to do is you want to be very patient and allow him to break what is one of the hardest parts of this boss fight. His environment is quite deadly to you as the new player. By the way, that combination right there, as you just saw, he'll do 2 attacks. Don't worry about the second attack, it will always go over your head. Now, as you can see there, I kind of broke my own advice. What I ended up doing is I tried to roll out of that. However, I've had experience with this fight, and what I'm going to tell you to do is if you are close enough to him that you're basically touching your character's body, is touching his body, then you can roll out, but do not roll backwards and do not roll forwards. Roll to the side, preferably to the side that you're already facing, which generally is the right. Because that way it will set you up to do a few attacks on him. This boss fight is very much about patience. You want to be able to block or roll through attacks, and then you want to get a few hits off. Generally what you can do is if you have a weapon that causes bleed, get 3 hits off, go for the bleed, then be done. Back up, and let him do that. Now I want to talk to you guys real quick about magic. His magic defense is decent. One thing you saw there is you can actually roll backwards out of that attack. However, I do not recommend it because the reason why I was able to do that there is because I was far enough away from him. But as you can see there, even just blocking in the middle of that attack negates most of the damage. Now there's one problem with that attack right there. If you get too close, do not be cocky, because that attack will still do damage to you. Now, as you can see, there's a very small window of opportunity for you to block him between heals. As I said before, his attacks are very slow, so generally what you can do is between attacks you can get your guard back up, or you can heal, or you can do something. This boss fight feels very overwhelming, but it's actually not if you think about it and you're just calm and patient. Now that attack, if you're locked into a corner there, one thing you can do is either try to roll out of it, which I don't recommend for the new player, or you can just block it, which it'll damage your stamina, and it kind of sucks you didn't get the hits in there. But not getting hits and being safe is better than dying to a boss, right? As you can see there, once again, you just want to be very patient. I was actually a little too early there. Now, word to the wise about that attack right there. That attack where he slams his hammer down, that still has an AoE explosion effect. Now, as you can see, I got a little bit greedy there, and it cost me. I was very lucky I didn't do it a cross sweep. However, if you were, again, blocking very quickly between attacks is a very good thing. And that, my friends, is Demon Fire Sage. I hope that this was very helpful to you in navigating the beginning of the Demon's Ruins with a Dexterity build and for fighting the Demon Fire Sage. Later, we will be moving on with our main Let's Play build after I show you how to deal with this area with a Strength build. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope that this was helpful.